What's up everyone, Timothy here, aka FCFan21, and this time I will be bringing you something very different than normal. As you might have seen, I was not planning on joining a new league, something very new, or at least somewhere I haven't played before. But I got a invitation from one of the other moderators in the NBA, named Guess It's My Life, and he invited me to his own draft league, the Mischief Mew Draft League, and basically he was able to get my attention with the fact that we will be playing a format that I really was looking forward to doing, and that's a AAA format. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, a AAA format is a almost any ability format. I will be giving some information about that later on. We joined this season as one of the new logos I've created on the top left hand side of your screen. The Orange Army Ogre Pawns. I see the orange and Ogre Pawns isn't really seeable with this, but you can see it later on in the video on the top right side of your screen. So yeah, what is a almost any ability draft league? Basically, it means a Pokemon gets a certain abilities normally, like Araquanid does get Water Bubble or Water Absorb. In this league, we take those away and we give it other abilities. In this case, you can say Prankster or Magician. Would you do that? Not sure, but might be. At least you can customize a Pokemon to your liking. Can you keep the original abilities? Yes, you can. But in that case, you can only keep one of the regular abilities, and that's the only ability that the Pokemon has. Furthermore, this is a low tier-ish division or competition. So, extremely strong Pokemon like Goldango, Ogerpon, or at least Ogerpon with masks, and all that are not in this format. Some Pokemon do kind of exceed the low tier threshold, I think, but again, lower tier Pokemon with other abilities, most Pokemon do get hindered by their abilities, or at least do not get any benefits from them, and with a AAA style, you can at least take away that disadvantage with bad abilities. Is there anything else I need to talk about? Oh yeah, there are some abilities, with some I mean quite a lot, that are not legal in this format. If you want to know what the abilities are, I'm not gonna list them or name them all, but you can basically pause the video and have a look here. Other things that are good to know: a Pokemon cannot have any clone abilities. So Queenly Majesty and Dazzling basically do the same thing. They block priority moves. Those are not allowed on the same Pokemon, just like Charavolt and Mold Breaker, all that sort of stuff. Some abilities are allowed on the same Pokemon, even though they do kind of the same, but are still different enough, like Drizzle and Primordial Sea, Drought, Desolate Land, Mind's Eye, and Scrappy, all that sort of stuff. I don't think that's really coming into play for me, but still. You can have Moxie and Sword on the same team, but you cannot have one of the other and Beast Boost on the same team, because that would be quite difficult to play around, basically. Strength Step and Prankster are not allowed to be used by the same Pokemon. and will be causing an automatic forfeit loss. Sleep moves are all banned besides rest. So basically anything that puts your opponent to sleep also means an automatic forfeit loss. With the exception of Effect Spore, because Effect Spore gives a random status, and therefore you cannot really plan around that. Spoiler alert, I do not have Effect Spore on anything, so basically I cannot use sleep moves. Pursuit is legal in this league, and Hidden Power is not. So those are kind of like the basic principles. We had a 16 coach draft, and I was first. And first I picked up Infernape, and I immediately got a message from Adora who said, well, you picked Infernape, so we cannot be friends anymore. And yeah, I was really taken aback by that, and I decided, okay, you can have it. Oh yeah, that's good to know. Infernape was one of the 19-point mons, and every team can have only one 19-point mon in their team. So I said to him, okay, we can trade it for another Pokemon, but that was lower. He said, okay, but can you pick up Tangrowth for me, so you can trade that for that lower tier Pokemon, and I can give you another 19 tier Pokemon. And I was like, okay, give me Glowbro, but pretty early on I decided, okay, I'm gonna drop Glowbro because there are Pokemon that can do a better job than Glowbro does. So I decided to pick up Celebrity the Nemorystherian. Like I said, a 19-point Pokemon, and I picked up Nemorystherian because it has a lot of things going for it, but there are two things that make it a less than ideal Pokemon, let's say it like that, and those are his speed stat and his ability. Normally, an Nemorystherian gets Overcoat, which, I mean, helps against Sandstorm and Powder moves, but I mean, it's not like an amazing ability in any way, shape, or form. And besides that, it has a very low speed stat of 46, so it's nice in Trick Room teams for double battles, but besides that, it doesn't really do much. So I decided to pick it up, and I gave it Delta Stream and Steam Engine. Delta Stream is the signature ability of the Mega Rayquaza. And basically what it does, it removes all weaknesses of the flying type Pokemon. So basically, Nemorys is a flying and fairy type Pokemon with only the weaknesses of a fairy type with Delta Stream. So it takes away the electric, ice, and rock weakness, leaving it with just a poison and a steel type weakness. A Steam Engine is great if I get hit by a water or fire type move, which are not doing all that much damage into me normally, because I have 110 defense and 100 special defense, so I can take a hit. I get hit by a fire or water type hit, and immediately I go to +6 speed and outspeed everything basically. So I think those are two very beneficial abilities for Nemorys to work with. So yeah, basically my second pick was also traded with Adora. This was something I really wanted, and that Pokemon is Erectile Dysfunction, aka Crocodile. By the way, I went with all funny nicknames this season because, yeah, I thought that would be hilarious. Crocodile was something I had on my lists pretty much from the start. Basically, because ground and dark type Pokemon, the ground dark type combination is something very strong offensively. I wanted to give it adaptability, so both ground and dark type moves would be hitting twice as hard from Crocodile without even it having to have. It's just basically an extra stab bonus with adaptability, which is amazing for it. Besides that, it also has Mold Breaker. Because I know a lot of poison types, a lot of steel types will be running moves or abilities like Levitate or Earth Eater, and with Mold Breaker I can basically bypass those abilities and say, well, I still will be hitting you for super effective damage, thank you very much. What ability I will be using is something I can fully decide by myself. I don't have to let that be known beforehand. So basically you have to accept that I'm gonna hit with Crocodile very hard, or that I can always hit your Pokemon no matter what your ability is. Which is something I think very scary for this format, because people are gonna build their or give their abilities to Pokemon just to ensure they are either offensively helped or defensively helped, and every defensive ability I can bypass with this. So basically, yeah, you can see where I'm going. This it means Crocodile can get very scary very fast. Also, as you can see, we by the way had 120 points. I spent 34 for these first two Pokemon. But I had a wheel pick, and I decided to pick up something more in a defensive role, being Modern Times, aka the Rotom-Mow. For 13 points. Normally this thing only has Levitate. But I was like, yeah, Levitate, this thing takes neutral damage from ground type moves. I do not really care about Levitate. I give it Thick Fat. As you can see, Rotom-Mow only has 4 weaknesses in Fire, Ice, Poison and Bug. Poison and Bug are not the greatest offensive types, but Fire and Ice are. With Thick Fat I take away the Fire and Ice weaknesses, and it becomes a neutral hit into it, leaving only Poison and Bug type moves to be super effective into it. But I can also use Rotom-Mow as a more offensive Pokemon, and in that case Transistor is a great move or ability, because it gives me a 50% boost on every electric type move it uses. And let me remind you, normally this is coming from a Regieleki that has base 100 power moves. Rotom-Mow can hit a little bit harder with base 105. Basically with Stab, Thunderbolt, Stab, whatever electric type move, and Transistor will be boosting that. I was also tossing around with Contrary, but as you might have seen, Contrary was banned, so yeah, it would have been amazing giving this Leaf Storm and Contrary coming from base 105 special attack. That thing would have gone crazy, but yeah. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. So yeah, after this pick, I was waiting for a long time. I was making plans, and this was around the point that I decided I was not gonna use Glowking, but I was gonna use another Psychic type, and that was going to be first I went for Inteleon. Yeah, like I said, this was a wheel pick, so the order in which I picked didn't really matter there. But first I picked up Inteleon, aka James Pond. Very fast and very hard-hitting special hitting Pokemon. I decided to give this beast of a Pokemon, Primordial Sea. Basically, the plan is outspeed things, which it can do quite easily with 120 speed. There are not a lot of Pokemon in this format that are going to be able to outspeed Inteleon. And with Primordial Sea, I can summon the rain during as soon as it enters, giving a boost to all my water type moves, and not having to worry about a drought Pokemon switching in and taking away my rain, which is amazing. And yeah, boosting the water type moves is already amazing, but sometimes I might feel like boosting my water type moves with just Primordial Sea is enough, and that's when I will be running Beast Boost. This thing is already incredibly fast and incredibly hard hitting. It's kind of frail, not gonna lie, but as soon as it gets a Beast Boost off, I think this thing might become unstoppable. So yeah, really looking forward to using James Bond, and for 15 points, for my first 2 Pokemon, 62 points for 4 Pokemon, giving away half my budget to just 4, while I have to draft at least 10 and max 12. My next Pokemon, this is going to be the Psychic type, don't you worry, I am very sure about this time. I decided to break the bank again, and we went for Dr. Fetus, the Reuniclus. Reuniclus normally is already a pretty solid Pokemon, I think. Magic Guard, Regenerator, yeah, this thing with base 110 HP is very hard to take down normally. One thing, it is very slow with base 30 speed. That's why I decided to give this Pokemon Prankster, and Prankster is gonna destroy my opponents for sure, because this thing gets so much amazing status moves. It's just unfair, I feel like. So even though I spent 16 points and am always at 2/3 of my budget while only having half a team, like I said, I think this is an amazing pick for me. Priority setup with Acid Armor, Coal Mines. It does get other setup moves or downgrading moves for my opponent, like Charm, basically ensuring he won't be hitting it. My opponent won't be hitting it as hard. Encore, which is amazing. It gets Recover. It can run screens, both Light Screen and Reflect, with priority. Priority Thunder Wave, Toxic, and Trick. Priority Substitute. It does get Imprison, I believe. Yes, so I can run that against other supportive Pokemon and basically say, yeah, you cannot set up screens, you cannot Encore any Pokemon as long as I'm on the field. It does get Power Swap, which might be fun to use. So basically Power Swap swaps the attack and special attack with the targets. So I can swap my going for a physical set and basically swap my 65 attack stat with another my opponent's physical attacker. I can set up I can use roleplay, replacing my ability with the of my target. Yeah, I think you get the gist. I can do a lot of status shenanigans with Reuniclus. But I can also set up Psychic Surge, which is amazing because this thing learns Expanding Force. And I can basically make myself bulky enough to live any Dark-type hit, or Ghost, or Bug. Give it a weakness policy, set up the trick room and basically go to town. So yeah, I think Reuniclus is going to be a beast of a Pokemon on this team. But yeah, I need to start watching my budget because, like I said, I spent 2/3 already for just the half of my team. So next up, I was looking at the budget picks and I found something very incredible for a budget pick, and that's going to be Simba the Pyroar. Yeah, Simba as in a Simba that's going to be a simp. Again, a very kind of the Inteleon, but a little bit less offensively strong and a very little bit, well, quite a little bit more strong in defense. Pyroar can still do immense damage to my opponent. Desolate Land is the counterpart of Primordial Sea. So basically setting harsh sunlight, not taking in effect any water type moves because those will basically evaporate because of the heat. Giving it one less weakness to worry about. And also boosting my fire types with 50%, which makes Pyroar a force to be reckoned with. I can also go for Magic Guard. Basically, Magic Guard makes it so I will not be taking any damage from things that are not direct attacks. So, hazards, I don't care. Give it a life orb, it won't take any recall damage. And that way, Pyroar can go nuts, I think. Stab, normal, and fire type is, I think, pretty hard to switch into. Basically, only rock types and steel types. No, not even steel types because of the fire type. I think basically only rock types can switch into reliably on both those attacks. And yeah, if I expect the rock type coming in, I can switch into Inteleon. So yeah, like I said, a budget pick for 7 points. But I do think it's gonna be worth the points that I spent for it, because even though it's 7 points, I can see this thing go nuts this season. Yeah, with this wheel pick, I decided to pair it up with another pretty low points Pokemon, and that was going to be Edgehog the Alolan Sandslash. For 5 points, I got my Rapid Spinner. I did have Defog with the Rotom Mow, but I did not have a Rapid Spinner. I wanted a bit more bulk because I was very offensively orientated so far. I mean, Inam is a bulky offensive Pokemon and Rotom Mow can take a hit. But, oh, I really did have a high HP set, of course. But Crook, Inteleon, and Pyroar were very offensively based Pokemon, and Alolan Sandslash was a bit more defensive with base 120 defense. Amazing thing about Alolan Sandslash is that it only has 3 weaknesses in Fire, Fighting, and Ground. Downside is Fire and Fighting are times 4 weaknesses, and that's why I gave it Well-Baked Body. Well-Baked Body will not only render any fire type moves useless against it, it also gives me a +2 in defense, making Edgehog a very strong physical wall, as it even stronger than it already is. It also has Snow Warning, basically for switching in, setting up Snow, as Alolan Sandslash was one of the few Pokemon in this format that basically can set up Snow now and set up an Auroraville against my opponent. I did not go for a Slush Rush. 1, it's illegal, and 2, yeah, I think I'm gonna use Sandslash mostly as a Rapid Spinner this season. And yeah, rocks are gonna be neutral, so I might or I might not run Boot, depending on what I am expecting. But yeah, I can basically rapid spin away hazards on my side of the field, boost that speed, get a Aurora Veil up, and be done with it, basically. But yeah, again, a more defensive pick. Again, after this Pokemon, I have to wait a lot of turns, and I decided to pick up something more specially defensive, I believe, this round. And that's going to be Pheasant Skippity. Yeah, Pheasant Skippity, a very strong specially defensive Pokemon. 13 points. Again, I was coming at this point. I was coming to the end of the draft. This was my 8th Pokemon. I have 17 points left for at least 2 Pokemon. Spoiler alert: I pick up just 2 Pokemon after Pheasant Skippity. It is the second Fairy type, but this Fairy type is more a Poison type than a Fairy type, I think. At least I'm going to use it more as a Poison type than a Fairy type. Only 3 weaknesses in Ground, Psychic, and Steel. And with Earth Ether, I can take away the ground weaknesses from this. And also give it some healing, which is nice. But sometimes I just want to poison my opponent's Pokemon. And with Corrosion, I will be able to poison any Steel type that I like. And yeah, just basically whittle down more defensive Pokemon that way. Normally it has Toxic Chain, which is nice, of course, but yeah, I think Corrosion is better on this Pokemon, and it normally has Technician, but I went with a more defensive set. So, and by the way, what's the fun in keeping the original abilities? At least that was my that was what I had in mind during drafting. I was not thinking about keeping any abilities. So yeah, if you enter a AAA league, I was like, yeah, switch up abilities. But after this, I still wanted more defense. So I went with a more rounded defensive Pokemon and a Ghost type because I will always want a spin blocker. So I decided to go with refreshed the Galarian Corsola. For 10 points, it left me with enough points so I can pick up another nice Pokemon that's not really all that bad. And I decided to go for physical defensive abilities. So I can basically invest in its special defense, give it an EV Light, and make this thing incredibly hard to break down. Fluffy basically doubles your defense, I believe, or at least give 50% boost. Only weak downside is it also makes you weak to fire type moves, which is not ideal. But if my opponent will be bringing a very strong fire type, I can always give it Intimidate and not be worried about taking the extra fire type damage. So yeah, Galarian Corsola was my second to last Pokemon. I was looking, and when I drafted this Pokemon, I was like, oh, whatever, I just picked something and I might make it up in Grace, but I was thinking, I actually like this last Pokemon, so I decided to keep it. And that last Pokemon of 7 points was going to be Paldean Tauros, aka Big Bully. Yeah, for 7 points I picked up a... Oh, these are stats from another Pokemon. Yeah. And those are weaknesses of another Pokemon. Whatever. Tauros is going to be my last Pokemon. Basically, I gave it Scrappy and Supreme Overlord. Scrappy, so I can hit Ghost type Pokemon with my Fighting type moves, and Supreme Overlord to basically make this a revenge sweeper or revenge killer. It made my speed tiers a little nicer because from Inteleon I went to Pyroar, and from Pyroar I went to Crook. I've got Vesandipity in between, but now I also get Pavilion Taurus in between the Pyroar and Crocodile, so yeah. Bit nicer for my speed tiers as well. Raging Bull is great because I can basically take out screens with that, and yeah, in the end I think Pavilion Taurus is really going to do quite some nice things for me, I think. With all the abilities and all the Pokemon, this is my weakness chart and my stat chart. My physical offense looks way stronger than my special my special defense looks weaker than my physical defense. But Reuniclus, base 85 special defense, also has 110 HP. Paldea Tauros 70 is decent. Magikarp Pyroar. I can give Corsola the Eviolite, so basically give it 150 base defense. I'm not really worried. Special attackers, Enam, Intel, Pyroar, Reuniclus, physical offensive strong Pokemon. Even though it looks more well-rounded, I think my special offense is stronger. But still, Crocodile, Paldea Tauros, and Enam Therian. Besides Alolan Senseless, of course, but that's more of a defensive piece, but still hit pretty hard. So yeah, these are the 10 Pokemon that will try and bring me victory in this AAA competition. Really looking forward. I really am curious to see how I can hold my own, or even if I can hold my own in such a league. So yeah, really interested to see how how things are going. Hope you are interested as well and decide to follow me. If you're not yet subscribed and you want to follow this journey of mine, you can always do that. It's completely free, and you can always stop if you do not like the content. Yeah, basically, I cannot force you, and I will not force anyone. I'm not gonna beg for any subscribers, but if you like, you can always join and see how I'm doing. Leaves me with just a thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Next week I will be uploading week 1. Most likely I will bring out a team builder on Wednesday and the battle on Thursday. Why a separate team builder? Because I do think I will be needing a bit more time to explain why I am bringing certain mons with what ability, more than I normally would need. And yeah, I think the battle videos will go over an hour if I have a team builder from half an hour, and I think those are just too long. So I can take my time on why I will be bringing what Pokemon. So yeah, hope you to see you all then, and until then, bye!